talk all the time about the signs of autism and things that for families to look out for. This is not anything new, but what University of California has done is condensed these 5 things down and said, here are the 5 things that parents should be aware of. Not practitioners, but parents, so that when they go into the practitioner, they can say, here's what I'm seeing and this is what my concern is. Any one of these is not necessarily mean that your child has an autism spectrum disorder, right. But if you see any one of these, it is worthy of having a conversation with your pediatrician. So Kelby's got them there on the screen. The first one is that your baby does not respond to his or her name, and more specifically, that they don't respond if the caregiver says it. If somebody else says it, right, that's not a big of a deal. But the person that they spend the majority of their time with, if they say their name, what you really want to see is the child orients to who, the caregiver, to look at them when their name is being said. And if they're not, that's something that you need to be concerned about. And it may not be autism. It might be a hearing deficit. It might be something else, but it is something to be concerned about and to talk about with your pediatrician. Do you want to take the second one?
Sure. Does your young child engage in joint attention? Joint attention refers to an activity where a child joins with another person to look at the same object or watch the same activity. So they would point, show, typical babies would point, show toys to others. They might look at a puppy and say to the parent, look at that, look at the puppy.
I'm sorry, I just was going to interrupt for a second. Whenever I go to Disneyland, this is what I watch. Because Jem didn't have this, and I didn't realize it.
I didn't realize it either. Wyatt didn't have it either, or nor did Wyatt. The first one, too, he didn't respond to his name.
Okay, interesting. But when I'm at Disneyland, I'm fascinated, and I will watch the little ones, to a year to 3 years old. And I'm absolutely fascinated because at Disneyland, everybody's pointing and going, oh, look.
Right.
Mom goes, oh, look, there's Mickey. And I see the baby look at Mickey and then look back at Mom, and I go, there it is. There's that joint attention.
Right.
Look at, and then
I know. And I never
go up to people and go, how old is your child? And they go, oh, she's a year old, but it's there. I see it all the time at Disneyland.
I know, and I never caught it. I never caught it. I never saw it in Wyatt, but I didn't know that was a sign.
Yep.
Okay, you want to take the next one?
Yeah, the next one is, does your child imitate others? This is another one when we go places, my son and I love babies, and I always try to get a baby to smile. If there's a baby, we're in line someplace, I try to get him to smile, and I do fish lips, right?
Yeah.
And it's fascinating to see that even sometimes an 8-month-old baby will start to go, when I'm doing it, because they want to copy what I'm doing, and it always fascinates me. So if you're doing something like you're picking up a phone and pushing the buttons, and your child has a play phone and they're pushing the buttons, that's imitating something that you do. If they're not doing that, something to be concerned about.
Right. I would say that Wyatt, but he regressed. So, I know that during the first year, if I smiled at him and laughed, he laughed and smiled.
Exactly.
But it was, sometime after, it was, 13 months, 16 months, 2 years that these things, he stopped doing those things and was more spacey.
Yeah. And it isn't on this list, but I always say anytime there is a loss of skill,
language in particular, Wyatt lost language.
Yeah.
Okay,
the next one. You want to do it?
Yeah, does the child respond emotionally to others? Babies are responsive to others. They smile when someone smiles at them, imitates or laughs when playing with toys. When a typical child sees another child cry, they may cry themselves or act concerned. Yet a child with autism may not respond to someone's smile, invitation to play, unaware of distress or concerns of others. So that was something, Wyatt seemed to be unaware of others.
Okay. And then the last one is, does the baby engage in pretend play? And we've been talking all last week, we've talked about all the different kinds of play, and I talked about the functional pretend play aisle that you go down and you get the pretend vacuum cleaner, and the sociodramatic play where maybe you play the mom and then you switch and say, no, I'm going to be the dog or I'm going to be the dad. It's that kind of pretend play. If they want to be the doctor and they want to take the stethoscope, all of that is a really good sign. If it's not there, again, we don't panic, but it's absolutely something you should be talking about with your pediatrician.